Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCL. I'm Cruising Spaz, joined by I Hold Shift. And I mean, if you guys thought that first match was good, I mean, hey, it was okay. We got to see a
It was a thing.
fantastic Northern Iowa team, but now we got a barn burner of a matchup coming your way with North Texas going up against the University of Texas at Dallas. And I mean, this is going to be a good one, Shift.
It's going to be a great one. This is a battle for who essentially wins Division B. Texas State is technically still part of that conversation, but only marginally. And honestly, again, because both teams are undefeated here, it would essentially have to be a situation where COD, they actually lose a couple of more matches in the near future, which, to be fair, we don't expect them to. So yeah, this one very well could be that one matchup that determined who exits on top of their division, and maybe even beyond that, who gets a little bit of bragging rights for the state of Texas overall. Definitely something interesting. Absolutely. Because North Texas and UTD are not all that far from one another, if I'm being honest.
No, they are not. And I mean, like you said, both these teams coming into this undefeated. We can take a look at our two teams now as our home team. That's going to be the University of North Texas. That's going to be Spence, Rudd, Denpai, and Destino. And then the away team, that's going to be the University of Texas at Dallas. And that's good old Mr. J Pistachio and co. Going to be Snow, Envy, and Catalyst going there. So I mean, like we said, this should definitely be a really good one. We can start to take a little look towards our map breakdown as well as we look into this one. So it's going to be a checkmate hardpoint followed by raid, search, and destroy, checkmate, control, and then if we end up going the distance, which I'm really hoping we do, me and you got to get off these 3 O's. It's going to be checkmate hardpoint and Moscow, search and destroy towards the later end of this.
You know, for the checkmate that we're going to get here for this first hard point, this will be a really interesting battle between both of these squads, because both of them so far have actually really largely done a lot of their success on hardpoint as a mode overall on this map, including the fact that neither team has actually lost this map mode combination yet. So it's going to be a really interesting first map overall to come out and set the tone potentially. You've got North Texas, who just got into the top 25 after our last week's vote. And then you've got COD Orange. They've been in the top 25 for a while, sitting as the number 16 squad, I believe, right now, which I think is actually a little undervalued. But I know that they're kind of dealing with a handful of roster things. Is Nate Fiasco playing? Is he not? That was kind of the question mark even leading up into today's game. But when this COD Orange team plays in full force, they definitely look like a major contender, not just for this division, but potentially for the region at large, because you have to remember that they will have a couple more matches to play to get out of their first split, since this is a 12-team division overall. On the other side of this division, though, you've got Ottawa Gold, you've got a good Oklahoma State team, you've got an Oklahoma Crimson team that looks pretty good, and then you also have Colorado Gold, who is kind of the sister team of their main team, Colorado Black. But all of those teams can put up a pretty solid fight. So overall, not only are we looking to see who very well could be on top of this division after the results of this match, but I'm looking at both of these squads to kind of see where exactly do they fall in the top 25 overall when we get into that second split, where you're going to be going up against some other very, very formidable teams.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a big test for both teams, finally playing a team maybe that's up to both each other's calibers, because they really just haven't yet. Both these teams really haven't lost very many maps either. If we look at this one, I mean, University of North Texas once again sitting at 21-4 map count, and then you've got the University of Texas at Dallas sitting at 18-1. And like you said, going into this first checkmate, both teams sitting at 3-0. That's going to be the large majority of the case for most of these maps, as they're out of all these maps, only one map loss for both these teams. That's going to be the raid hardpoint if we get there for the University of North Texas. So I mean, if we get there, I'm definitely really excited. But I mean, checkmate hardpoint, we saw it in the last series. Let me know what we can expect to see out of this one.
Yeah, I'm looking to see who's going to be able to control that middle plate. It's just so easy to say. And every single time that someone asks me, how do you break down checkmate hardpoint, who controls that plane? Really, from the exits of P2 all the way until the initial time of P5, if you don't have that plane control, the rotations to get into 3, get into 4, and then also get into 5 can be very difficult to do. So we're jumping on in, and for North Texas, kind of one final point. This is their first true test of the season outside of playing Texas Arlington, in which it went all the way to Game 5. So you would expect that based on the results so far, that COD Orange would still be the favorite. But again, anything can happen, and hopefully for North Texas, they come out looking strong, and so far they've done just that.
Absolutely. Anything can happen as Denpai and Destino are going to be able to pick up 2 inside the hill. And a large majority of this hill right now going the way of North Texas. They are already off to a 20-2 lead, and they are holding on to this time at the moment. But, I mean, Mr. J Pistachio is trying to make a play right now for these spawns. He's going to fall in the back now. So only one player now left alive for the side of UTD Orange, and he's going to fall as well. So not only do they get 31 seconds here on this first hill, they are now going to be looking to hold on to a good majority of time here as the side of UTD Orange is spawning way out.
Yeah, great start overall for Texas. Again, winning that plane is key. You get really get that little spawn flip situation going to get you into a really prime position for P2. Nice little toe shots there for Denpai on 5, and are already working for early streaks. Destino is also just 4 kills in a row, only a couple away from potentially working on the streaks of his own. As soon as you get to number 5, number 6, that's when that little score bonus really starts to come into play. So key moments here for both Denpai and Destino if they want to try to earn themselves those early score streaks.
Denpai gonna fall there, so it's gonna leave just Destino by himself now, and he is gonna be able to pick up that first streak. So we'll have to see if he's able to continue on that as he is on 8 in a row. But it looks like the side of UTD Orange gonna be able to hop on into this hill for a short period of time, but Denpai, after falling once, gonna be able to pick it up and pick up his next kill there.
Really good rotation on the exit here overall for North Texas. They do get a little bit trapped at the moment. Again, the break attempt for COD in the last 15 seconds is kind of like a whatever situation if you're a fan of the mean green. But now that you're in a little bit of a spawn trap, you need to work your way out. And there will be one player who does spawn behind this play. It's going to be Denpai. So look at him, number 3 on your minimap, to see if you can make a play from the back. Maybe pinch up this hard point. A couple of kills for COD. But again, Denpai right into the back, able to find himself one that'll open up a bit of space for North Texas to work with.
And I mean, as you can see, kills starting to now balance themselves out a little bit here. I guess it's a little bit different from when you're running into head glitches as to when you're set up on those head glitches and able to pick up a couple kills yourself. As UTD Orange are continuing to pick up some kills here in the middle of the map. It's going to be J Pistachio set up underneath the plane, takes a 1v1, able to pick up the kill on the Denpai, and now they start to make this rotation over towards P4 now. As I mean, they've done a great job so far of holding on to quite a bit of time. P3 hill, not a hill you normally see a lot of time on.
But we're starting to see teams learn how to do it. And it starts with not just winning the plane, which I said before, but how can you actually force the spawns all over the map for North Texas? It's a lot of spawn awareness things if you're going to generate time on P3. And that was pretty well executed overall for the comments of UTD. So now we turn our attention over towards the 4th hard point. And Texas is in right now for the mean green, but it comes down to, can you actually successfully zone off these lanes where the comments are going to want to hit from?
And I mean, Destino started off really, really good in this game, and now he's going to be sitting at 14-8. So definitely has had a couple of deaths in a row here. 15-8 now as he was able to pick up another one in the middle of the map. But 2-for-2 split comes down here, and it's going to be Catalyst inside the hill. Him and Mr. J Pistachio locking it down here as they're able to pick up some more time on this P4 hill. And honestly, this has been a great job for them coming back to this game, considering how rough the start of the game really was for them.
It's they're clawing back here, Cruising Spaz, just barely able to find some ground to hang on. But this comes at a perfect time. You're able to exit a couple of kills off of P4. It opens up space for you to get into the back for wood and then get set up for this 5th hard point. So now you look back over to the UNT. Yeah, you're in the lead by 30 points, but that lead is going to quickly diminish unless you can find a way to try to find a break from this mid-plane position.
And I mean, like you said, UTD Orange, they got these spawns now. They're going to look to see what they can do with them. It's going to be Rudd inside the hill, just playing in a little corner on the box. He's going to end up falling now too, but it looks like Mr. J Pistachio was able to pick up streaks there. I'm not sure if that was a missile or what, but it did look like a streak did come through there for him. So yeah, so he does have a artillery strike. So good on him. Going to be able to balance out the streaks that Destino was able to pick up earlier in the round as they continue to try to pick up kills here in the middle of the map and try to get some more plane control.
Not bad for the side of North Texas, though, to be fair. Again, this pressure from this bottom's wing has actually been really successful for the mean green. And now Rudd feels like he can actually take that one step further by trying to get onto the hard point. And hey, look at that. UNT actually find a way to break up some of the monotony, which has been UT COD Orange getting a lot of time here in the 5th hard point. So not only do they retain their lead, getting the scrap time will actually grow it to be about 20 points large.
Yeah, and it looked like the majority of the start of this game really was the way of North Texas, but I believe they were at almost 90 seconds after the first 2 hills. So really only able to get 30 seconds on the bottom 3. Not something that you would like to see, but still holding on to a slim lead here as they continue on inside the hill. This was a hill they were so successful on the first time through, being able to push through and flip. Snow able to pick up one onto Denpai. That might be able to be the opening for the side of UTD COD to push on in, but as I say that, 3 players are going to fall, and it's going to be Spence continuing on this streak inside the hill, finally falling there.
Yeah, and it's actually great to see that there are players besides Rudd who are really stepping up, because he actually comes into this map as the leading hardpoint KD for the side of North Texas. So the fact that he's just at 10 and 11 going even, but you've got Dustino finding a great amount of kills, Deadpie and Spence are still also getting a decent amount of hardpoint time while also going even. It's great. This is the collective nature that you want to see from UNT if they want to try to upset the favorite here in UT COD Orange. And so far, because all 4 players are putting in an even amount of work and Dustino's popping off, it's allowing them to take this near 60-point advantage.
Yeah, but a big play coming in through the back as Envy is able to pick up 2 and flip these spawns out for the side of UTD COD. So those 2 kills coming in huge, but Spence was able to find one in the back for himself. Streaks now coming on in as well as Spence picks up a second kill in the back. It's going to be a one-on-one with Snow here, basically for spawn. Snow's able to pick one up as well, so that should allow the rest of his team to spawn on him, as one player is actually going to spawn out. That's Mr. J Pistachio, as he's going to have a chance to make a little bit of a pinch play on this yellow crate.
But you got to go sooner rather than later here if you're the side of North Texas. I mean, they're being stalled out pretty heavily. They actually forced a handful of score streaks in as well, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know if they were all that efficient. Now they're finally getting in the back, but that's a play to where you're essentially saying, yeah, we're okay flipping spawns, but it's at 20 seconds left in the hard point. They're about to find themselves in the same spawn trap that they had over the last rotation, unless they can get up and top into this plane. Spence is the last player to try to do that. Unfortunately, he continues to go kill for kill, so it will allow an opportunity for the Mean Green to not be spawn trapped behind the second hill.
Absolutely, but it looks like they might end up getting put into that spawn trap by themselves. No, not going to be the case, as Rudd was able to pick up a huge kill to leave his team spawning on him towards the left side of this map. I mean, going back to what you were saying, like you said, a lot of those middle kills come down to, you like to talk about hard points in sets of 20s, right? So when you're pushing in and trying to get spawns towards that back half of the 20, they're very lucky to be coming out of this one and not being put back into that spawn trap again. As we continue to look through this, Mr. J Pistachio able to pick up 2 big kills in the middle of the map, make that 3 in a row as he's 29 and 19, leading the way, much of the way for UTD COD.
And for now, yeah, there's still a little bit of time to fight over, but for the comments of UTD Orange, they are more heavily put into a position to where they can actually zone off some of this initial time towards our 4th hard point in the containers. So once again, like you had brought up at the end of our first rotation, North Texas looked great in the first hard point, great in the second, but they were lacking in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That trend is starting to come back to life again. Hopefully for the Mean Green, they can find a way to open up these 50-50s in their favor, and so far they have, but UTD COD not going to go out without a fight.
No, Mr. J Pistachio was able to pick up 2 before Dustino finds 2 of his own and picks back up in this hill. Honestly, if it wasn't for Dustino at the moment, I feel like North Texas would not fully be in this game, but those streaks came into play in that second hill, helped them out quite a bit, and him just honestly, every time I see his name in the kill feed, it feels like he's finding 2 in a row right now, as Envy from the top gonna find 1 before 2 more players from the side of North Texas are able to find kills inside the hill, but it's gonna be at the end of all the trades. Catalyst still inside the hill, and spawns are looking the way of UTD COD Orange once again towards this P5.
Yeah, I'm looking at Snow coming up here. He's 15 and 21, but he is the player focused on the hard point. Last time we were here at the 5th hill, North Texas did find a way to get on and try to contest some of that late scrap time. You cannot afford to give that up coming into this next hill if you're UTD COD. And oh my goodness, they actually spend a couple of players. They split spawn out. So now it is just down to Envy. He's got to finesse for as long as humanly possible, but well, that humanly possible time was shorter rather than longer. And again, North Texas have broken in early.
Yeah, and it's looking like this game might be able to come to an early end here, unless the side of UTD COD has something to say about it. It's going to be Snow hopping on in the hill, grabs 1 before falling himself here, and now just Rudd trying to play his life for the time being, but not going to be the case, as Envy and the side of UTD COD are able to push on in and start getting some time in this hill. And realistically, they need the rest of this time, and they need to be able to have a flawless push over towards this plain hill so that they can, because North Texas is 12 seconds away from winning this game.
The win conditions for North Texas are nearly limitless right now. You could chalk old time, get yourself a strong zone, try to find just 12 seconds on a new hard point. You could do that technically not just here on this first hill, but you can actually try to execute that on the second, because UTD COD is so far away from even getting a comeback really on the topic of conversations here. So a lot has to go right for UTD, and well, Mr. J Pistachio backs that thing up right into Spence, who finds the easy kill. All 4 players will fall in North Texas. They just need to hold off 1 more hit.
And I don't think anybody from the side of UTD Orange is even going to get close to the hill here. There it is, 250 to 169 as North Texas pick up the win there. And I mean, Minus Hills 3, 4, and 5 on that first set of rotations. They looked pretty damn good in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just love the fact that North Texas were able to keep UTD away from a lot of those key positions on the wings, inside the play, specifically when you're dealing with the third hard point and the first hard point. And outside of maybe a couple of follies on rotations, I'm looking at that second rotation on the second hard point behind yellow, where they kind of flipped all the way around behind to get to the back of the hard point with only 20 seconds remaining. They did a really nice job of making sure that every single time they were caught in a corner, they were able to kind of work their way into a handful of very, very easy exits. And for UTD COD, I mean, it just came to the fact that the ARs were taking over, and we just didn't see enough pressure from the SMG line overall. Both Envy and Snow, not the greatest games to really kind of look back on. One to be more expected because you are just essentially soaking up hard point time if you're Snow. But if Envy's going to be pulling that second SMG, I need to see him roaming a bit more and taking away those rotations before North Texas can try to execute. And that really wasn't there. So a very convincing win for the Mean Green.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think one other big thing that we need to look at too is heading towards that P5 in that last set of rotations. They pushed, I think, just too many people towards the scrap time. They technically had enough time for UTD to give it up and just make a full rotation over. And they had to try to give it up in all honesty, but instead they just chose to expand resources over there. And at the end of it all, North Texas was able to take full advantage of it, spawn them out, and just be able to pick up that win on P5. So I mean, we start to look over towards the rest of this series now as we look to head towards a raid, search, and destroy. Both these teams coming in with a positive record on raid, search, and destroy. North Texas coming in at 5-0, and then you look at the University of Texas at Dallas coming in at 1-0. So not as many reps, but a 6-0 win for them.
Yeah, and when you take a look for UTD, they have been flawless so far in search and destroy, largely all the way out, and they've been smoking everybody on it. Where on the other side, North Texas have dropped a couple of search and destroys historically, and I say that with a little bit of extra weight because they're dropping search and destroy against teams that are not all that great, if I'm being completely honest with you. They lose the search and destroy, the opening search and destroy versus University of Texas at Arlington. Not a bad opponent. But they're also dropping search and destroys to teams like Navarro College, who are not really even contesting the top two teams right now. Yeah, they're currently in the top 6, but you can't be losing search and destroys against teams like that if you want to not just be at the top of your division, but also retain a top 25 spot overall. It's been the respawn that North Texas have largely been able to kind of bake their bread and then also butter it. So this search and destroy for North Texas, you need to be able to come through with a little bit more polish, a little bit more cleanliness, because the ARs for UTD COD are about to light things up on a map like Raid.
And I think one positive thing that University of North Texas can take about this going into this this matchup is in particular is they do end up getting Raid to come through, which has been a really good map for them out of all their maps. Out of their 7 wins on Raid, it is a 5-0 for them. So good for them. 30 and 6 round count as well. So they've only dropped 6 rounds in 5 games. So this is definitely, they have the reps on this hill. It's just going to be, how are they now going to respond when they play a team who can also pick up a lot of wins in search and destroy?
Yeah, and I'm looking at a couple of star individual players here from the side of North Texas. The first and foremost, Denny has been great overall with Dustin. Both players have been holding over a 2.0 KD. So now I kind of turn the attention away from Rudd, who did not have the greatest hardpoint performance, even with the W, compared to what he's had in the prior matches. Can he and Spence actually pick things up and try to, again, start them off on the right foot? Because for a map like Raid, you're expecting Mr. J Pistachio to lock down probably over towards Pool by himself, I would largely imagine. Maybe they'll trust him to sit up top Laundry, but he'll be on one of the 2 long sides of the map. And then for me, I'm kind of looking on the other side for UTD. What are you going to do with Snow and Envy? Are they going to continue to try to play the middle of the map? Are they going to play just in front of the ARs? I'm really interested in what their setup is going to look like, because both of them are coming off of respawn performances that did not really help their team out all that largely. And you can't just have ARs popping off all the time, especially in a map like Raid. You got to have that mid-map control if you want to rotate between both of those bomb sites, whether you're on offense or on defense. And I'm looking at Envy and Snow to be the 2 players for UTD to try to do that.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to pick it up from where they were in that first game, especially. They were not the best for the side of UTD. And it sounds like from production right now that we're going to be heading to a quick little break here. The lobby keeps falling out, so we're just going to try to get everything situated. We'll be back. Don't you guys go anywhere, because we'll be back with more College COD action right after this quick break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCL Alpha stream. We got a barn burner of a matchup coming up right now as we look to head into our S&D. Currently, the side of North Texas up 1-0 here. If you missed our first matchup, it was a 250 to 169 win for the side of North Texas. As we look to head in towards map number 2 now, it's Cruz and Spaz joined alongside I Hold Shift. And I mean, we're already on our way here in this first round of Search and Destroy, and it looks like the side of North Texas going to be over towards this B site, playing the defense, and it's just going to be Pistachio by himself, but UTD COD going to pick up the first round win.
It got a little too close for comfort, though, at the end. I mean, this is just a four-man mad dash into the middle of the map. Rudd, that's just not something you see all that often. Rudd takes a solo shell out of kitchen with no AR watching over the top of him. Not advised. But, you know, you do get there first, so maybe he's thinking, maybe I can rush forward. I would not expect to see him make that mistake twice, but still Dustin nearly able to pull off a 1v3, everything right in front of him. Just a touch unsuccessful. It's actually Catalyst who pulls the ace for UT Dallas.
Yeah, very silent ace there as we were kind of just trying to wrap everything up getting into this one, but it looks like both teams now heading over towards this B side. On the offense, it's going to be 4 players from the side of North Texas pushing this way, and you're going to have 2 players for UTD COD holding down middle map, while you have 2 players over towards this left side in Laundry. And it looks like North Texas was able to find that first kill from Destino with a nade. Denpai here set up, watching the back. He's going to see 2 players cross, not able to pick up the first on the snow. That's one that you got to win. And now it looks like we're going to have a 3 versus 1 on the bomb site for now, as Invi continues to push around here and trying to find kills on these North Texas players.
Enviage is pretty isolated right now, and if you're North Texas, you just don't chill him. Wait. Help. Actually, not even going to bother. Rudd's just going to say it there and say, good luck, friends. I'm going to go plant the bomb instead. So he's left his teammates out to dry, but that's what a laundry room is technically for, as Dustin's able to find himself 1 kill, and we go 2v2 from here on out.
Yeah, and both players on the side of UTD COD choosing to wrap through the middle of the map now. It's going to be Snow. Should have the first engagement on Rudd, but Rudd picks up the kill, gets away with his life as well. So this is going to be a very tough spot for Catalyst by himself. He's going to fall. And that's going to be North Texas picking up their first round win. 2 offenses so far.
Yeah, 2 offenses so far, and it's one of those things that I just want to see how things adjust, because for both squads, there's a little bit of wonkiness going on right now. You talk about the solo chow out of kitchen last time for North Texas. This time UTD, they essentially allowed North Texas to stay isolated, and they don't actually find any individual kills. So we'll see if they can maybe read information to touch better. And I think beyond that, for UT Dallas, will they continue to play aggressive? Looks like we will have a bit of a lobby restart here. So a 1-1 start overall. But you look at just how those first rounds were kind of dictated. It's UT Dallas putting a lot of information and a lot of numbers in the middle of the map. They get both SMGs on their defense through double tiling over towards Art. That's going to give a lot of over control. And largely, it's not like a win condition. Like if you've got mid-map control, you're going to win the round. It's not like an A equals B type thing. But if you're North Texas, are you going to continue to allow UT Dallas to get in the middle of the map? Because if you do, it makes rotating a lot more difficult, and you have to worry about the middle through pillars or open stairs, but also wherever side you're on, attack or defense. You have to worry about your flank all the time as well. So it takes a lot of responsibilities to forfeit that middle of the map and be able to responsibly make sure that it's not the demise of your round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's definitely not a situation where it's going to be giving you something that's absolutely going to win you rounds, but it's something that definitely makes winning rounds a lot easier on offense, is being able to hold down that middle of the map. So if I'm being honest, I'd like to see North Texas make that adjustment. And as we all know, mid-round adjustments and mid-game adjustments in Search and Destroy is really what it all comes down to, be able to pick up these middle rounds and ultimately being able to pick up a win. So, I mean, it sounds like we are having a little bit of an issue getting these players back into the lobby at the moment, but I think we're going to throw us to a quick little break here as we wait to load things back up. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the CCL. I'm Cruz and Spaz once again, joined by I Hold Shift, and we are getting things ready to go again in the Search and Destroy here. Both teams are going to be sitting at 1-1 here, so it is going to be the first person 2-5 that's going to end up winning up this game. And I mean, it looks like we're getting an early hit out of UTD COD going over towards this B site.
Yeah, no pressure in the middle of the map this time as North Texas will be able to surround that from kitchen and the open stairs, resulting in what was a very nasty set of crossfire, leaving Catalyst by himself for a 1v3 that he can't get off the ground. So, hey, how about this? UTD doing a little bit of creative work here with their offense overall. We had that 4-man hit in their first attack right down Main Street. This time it's a 4-man aggressive hit over towards the outer B site. And, well, the first a little bit more successful than the second, but a lot of credit given to Dust for making sure he could stay alive around the ring.
Yeah, I mean, you'd love to see teams throwing at different strategies out at the opposing teams. I'm actually really interested to see what North Texas decides to do here on this offense, because last time we saw a little bit of a delayed hit over towards that B side, so we'll have to see what they decide to do here. It looks like it is going to be a full 4-man hit heading over towards B once again. So it's only going to be Mr. J Pistachio here who's going to have something to say about it, and he's just going to back up and play in towards the back of this laundry while he waits for reinforcements to come on in.
The reinforcements are here, and they can still contest this bomb plant, but Rudd actually wants to go aggressive. He was by himself. That was not a double challenge whatsoever, and I don't think that North Texas expected to see all those defense members rotating over. So nice adjustment overall for first blood.
Yeah, and I mean, he drops bomb in a really, really rough spot, too. Yeah. I don't think that the side of UTD is going to know that bomb is down there at the moment because it is on that staircase. But still, just not a great spot that you want to see bomb down in general. It's going to be Mr. J Pistachio once again up in this top laundry window, just trying to see if he can spot out any type of information. They do have the man advantage here. He's going to have a one-on-one, being able to pick up the kill as Catalyst finds one as well on the outside. So now it's just going to leave Denpai all by himself here in a 1 versus 4, and this would have to be a monumental win with 25 seconds left and bomb down.
I don't think it's going to happen. It looks like he's trying to rush out to the back of the door, and yeah, he does get out the window, but the kill still gets credited to UTD. So that's kind of the problem that I have. So when we were talking before, you know, again, it's not like a you control mid-map, you win the round situation, but if you're going to, on the offensive side, full flood a bomb site, and you lose first blood, what happens next? Like, what are we trying to do in a 3v4 situation where you don't really have an easy opportunity to rotate away from your current play? And I think the larger answer is you got to just continue to push through. And that time it was just Rudd who tried it. No one else went with him. And those solo challenges, not exactly what I would call advised, is now UTD is going to try to make a play largely to the middle of the map. Cattle is able to get an opening angle, and Denny is good for first play.
Yeah, that's going to slow down the push. That's going to help out the push. That's for sure. As Catalyst was able to pick up that first blood there. Nice shots coming down range as he's actually on 3 in a row now. But this flank coming in from the back. Spence had a chance to make a play, but not going to be the case. The Snow was watching it on top of that Corvette. He's able to drop one. And now it's just going to be Mr. J Pistachio trying to lead the charge here. But actually, it looks like he's just going to be a decoy as the bomb is now starting to make its way over towards this A site.
Justin, this is all on him. He's got to come away with at least 1 kill. Finds the first, not going to get the second, but this will be information for Rudd that he's got to rotate over. The problem is he's in a 1v3, so largely you need to try to find isolated picks. Mr. J Pistachio will scout out the information. Rudd, very terrible spot to be, but does walk away with the first kill. He should be able to reset this for an even 1v2.
Yeah, resetting now, pushing through the middle of the map. He's actually going to elect to flank all the way around through the offensive side of the map here. But the issue for him is UTD COD now is set up towards the back side of A, and they can really just watch this and play it, honestly, just a pick here. Maybe try to get something going, but Rudd able to find another one there. So makes it a 1 versus 1 from a 1 versus 3. Bomb is down. He's only got 15 seconds and rips the head of Mr. J Pistachio off of the head glitch, and Rudd is going to be able to pick up the defuse there. Huge 1v3 that they needed to win.
Look, again, it's just another situation of that just can't happen. You get the information from the player in Tiki that, hey, Rudd is sitting up top bedroom. There's no need to even peek at that point if you're Mr. J Pistachio. You've got a Semtex to play with. You have the clock on your favor. There's no need for him to try to make this play. Yeah, the kill would have been great. The Semtex behind it, those essentially giving things up. And then from here, I mean, you have to try to wait the clock out. It's at 11 seconds at that point that kill starts to come through. You kill off another 4 or 5 seconds, and then you go to Chal. You have an opportunity to make sure that you've guaranteed the round just off the clock alone, or you get a free kill because he's in the middle of defusing. That is not a play that you typically see from someone like Mr. J Pistachio.
No, not at all. That is something that you absolutely don't want to see. We're going to see North Texas now pushing back over towards this A site. We saw them get some success over here earlier in the game. See if they're able to find it again here. It's going to be Rudd who has to watch the middle of the map, but he's going to fall as well. So now it's going to be Destino picking up the bomb, trying to push over towards this A site, but Snow is on the hunt. Going to be able to find the kill there as well. Going to leave 2 players left alone now for North Texas as Catalyst tries to take some shots down range as well. We'll have to see what they decide to do here if they decide to wrap on out, but it's going to be Snow, who's probably going to try to get aggressive here on the flank.
Well, good pickup here from Denny. There's one more nearby, and I think Denny actually recognized that this is very well could be a player around or even above him. Envy is right on top. You're waiting for the long play from Spence, though. He's number 6. He will find one from behind, but not a second. It all gets down to Denny for another 1v2.
Yeah, 1 versus 2. We'll see if Denny can do it here. I think he's got to know there's a player up top with the way that he's playing this. He's going to choose to take the one-on-one. Wins the first one. Oh, my God. You can't let this happen once again if you're UTD COD. Bomb is going to have to get planted here, and I mean, if you're Catalyst, you got to know that. You might have to make this rotation back over towards A here and try to shut him down while he makes this bomb. He really doesn't have time to rotate over towards A, and it's going to be the case. 7 seconds left. He's going to check the bomb. Thank God UTD COD was able to pick that one up.
That's the heads-up play that we're looking for. Like, again, the clock is becoming a bit of a problem. You mentioned it. You don't have time to rotate this over to B. So why not just safely rotate behind the open stairs right around the time that you figure that someone would be going for a plant? But I'm not going to lie. This opening for North Texas is a bit mismanaged. 2 players with SMGs getting cut right through the open stairs by the same player is not something you're looking for. If you're going to try to challenge the middle of the map, why not have an AR just delayed peek? There's really no need to double stack top bedroom off the rip from your offense. So maybe not the greatest overall setup so far for UNT's offense, but they've given themselves a couple of really good looks to try to clutch up late in these rounds, and now we're going to get UTD COD. Similar setup, but this time it's Snow by himself to the middle of the map who falls as first blood gets back into the hands of the Mean Green.
Yeah, middle map control absolutely in favor of North Texas here. And I mean, it looks right now, if player number 8 decides to make a flank on through, they could have the side of UTD COD completely trapped in that bedroom area. It's really just Mr. J Pistachio who's not with his 2 teammates right now, and it's going to be the player of Rudd here in the middle of the map who's just able to spot anything that's going on with this push over towards A.
It's all about what happens at this opening peak. Beautiful read from Rudd. Up top, he's going to find another 2 kills for Rudd. Leaves Mr. J Pistachio in what should be an impossible situation as he continues to try to tread water in the pool. Not going to come through, and that's a great overall setup for UNT. Again, a bit of a mistake. What's the point of trying to throw one player by themselves off the long peek through Zig if you're UTD? But Rudd takes advantage, takes over the middle of the map. I believe he also had a little bit of help kind of lingering on the backside of Art there at that specific moment. You saw the 2 kills, so even a trade would have been good. But for UNT, that is a really solid defensive setup, and they capitalize in a major way.
Absolutely. I mean, they need to be able to pick up these rounds even more even more so now at this point. Once again, guys, if you guys were not here at the very start of this, it is a 1-1 before we had a map reset, so it is going to be the first team to 5. And Catalyst, oh my God, able to find 3 big kills through the middle of the map, and that's going to leave Denny all by himself. We'll see what he decides to do, but I'm assuming he's going to try to take a spin off of the map here. Here he goes, little 360, down you go, as UTD God going to tie us up at 4-4.
So if you're going to quad hit out of Zig, you have to know who's committing. Dustin is by himself. There was no AR who slid over to try to watch the cross angle. The second SMG was late. That was a prime example of, I appreciate the effort, but we didn't work out the timings. You have to know who's going first in all those situations. We see that happen at the top level of the amateur scene, the challengers. We also see it pretty regular in the CDL. You have to know who's challenging what, and that's what you come to expect. Catalyst, he's the AR who will slide across. If he made it for him initially, there should be an opportunity for a trade, but careful, Catalyst. He picks up the bomb and moves pretty far forward. If he gets caught, UTD could be in a pretty terrible spot. It looks like they have been pinched up as Rudd finds the second kill in favor of North Texas.
And his teammates are going to drop around him now, leaving Snow by himself. He's going to fall as well. So North Texas able to get that round back pretty quickly, and that's going to put them on map point here as they go up 5-4. I mean, Denny did a great job there opening up that round. He was able to find the first and the second. I believe he got the third as well there. So great round coming out of Denny as he was able to pick up a few in that round. Have to see what they decide to do here. Their offenses haven't looked too great so far, if I'm being honest, for North Texas. So I'd like to see them maybe do something different here.
Largely, neither of our 2 schools have had really good put-together offenses thus far. We've seen a number of attempts to the middle of the map. A lot of them have been remotely unsuccessful. There have been a little bit of instances where, yeah, there's been at least some contest, but yeah, we've largely seen both of our squads just kind of commit to going over towards the outsides of B or the outsides of A. Now, remember last time that we were here, Rudd had the bomb and he solo challed up top towards this side staircase. I'm hoping that we get at least a double chall here, or maybe North Texas just hold their ground and wait to try to find an opening pick, because one is on the way if Spence has the timing here versus Envy.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're North Texas here, like maybe try to clear at the middle of the map and try to get a bomb down, but it's going to be Destino on the flank. He's able to pick up one, and his teammate jumps in through the top. That's going to be Rudd, picks up the second kill there. So now it's going to be a 3 versus 2 on the site for them. The only thing that they really have to be worried about right now is Envy, who has been on this flank through this entire round. Denpai gives it up at the worst possible time as Envy finally shows himself through there, and the flank play going to come on through. Envy picks up one, Catalyst picks up the second, and now they have a 2 versus 1 on the site as each of them win individual gunfights. Rudd just trying to run, get away with his life here, but this should mean Catalyst is going to hop onto this bomb. I'm not sure if they were able to see the player Rudd cross back. Rudd might be able to find one. He does. Pushes back down. Can he win the second? No! Envy able to pick up the kill, pick up the round win, and we're going to a round 11 shift.
Oh my goodness. Again, you might be sitting, what do you mean round 11? We're only played 8 rounds. You got to remember that we restarted this lobby after a 1-1 tie. So this is technically a round 11 coming into play here. And my goodness, for a moment here, you're wondering what has gone wrong. You should know that Enviage is sitting somewhere by Art. Denny just completely lets him go make a play on his own. He comes back through driveway knowing that Enviage has to be somewhere in the middle of the map, and that's just too easy of a kill. And then at the very end, nearly an opportunity to convert what would have been a 1v2, but not going to happen. So round 11 is going to be up to UTD to see what they can do on their offense. They have been largely unsuccessful when it comes to their hits so far, but this is a new look. All 4 members are going to make their play over to B. Dustin's trying to find first blood, but it's Catalyst. He's now 10-5 since the restart. He finds first blood, and it's an early 4v3 for UTD.
And what's even crazier to think is NVI started this reset off 0-5. He was able to pick up 3 kills in that last round and clutch up big. Spence is able to find one from the middle of the map. Quickly traded out by Mr. J Pistachio. Pinstripe kill feed coming down back and forth, and it's going to leave Spence all alone now. 1 versus 2. Bomb should be going down very shortly over this B bomb site. Catalyst has the overwatch over Mr. J Pistachio here, and we'll have to see what Spence decides to do. He's going to make the hit through the middle of the map. Finds Catalyst off guard, sliding off. Makes the double challenge, but not going to be the case. Mr. J Pistachio clutching up so big for the side of UTD COD as they come away and tie us up at 1-1 in the series.
That's almost, again, a huge mistake, though. Mr. J Pistachio has to be making the call that, hey, I'm planning for laundry. Catalyst isn't in that position yet. If you're going to make a post-plant, that you've got someone already ready to go waiting to watch those pillars, but oh my goodness, Mr. J Pistachio clutching up at about 1 HP remaining. Absolutely unreal, and that sends us to a 1-1 map count overall.
Yeah, man. I mean, you could not have asked for a better series for us here at Shift. Oh my God. We're finally going to see a game for the two of us. We have not seen one yet, so I mean, it's looking good. Like we said, though, that raid largely coming down to the fact that neither team really could win an offense until the end of that, when UTD COD Orange able to clutch up and pick up that last round. Man, and it got scary towards the end of that.
It got really scary towards the end. I think that both teams are going to be able to learn a lot about their search and destroy after looking back at what just happened right there. But as we turn our attention forward towards this control, this will be really interesting because for the side of North Texas, they have been great at control so far in this division. Whereas for the side of UTD, they have lost just a single time here, but their overall opponent average is actually sitting around a round. So you're going to be going up against North Texas, who have been nearly flawless in all the controls that they've played so far in this division. And UTD will have to put something special on the table here because Checkmate is by no means an easy map to take when it comes to control here first and foremost. But for the side of the UNT, 4-0 on Checkmate control.
Yeah, 4-0. But I mean, University of Texas at Dallas, not any slouch on this map either, sitting at 2-0. And I mean, I feel like this one is kind of one that they got to win right now. It is the swing game. They've looked really good in search, or I mean, well, they won it. So they looked good enough to be able to pick off that search win. Heading, like, if we do end up going the full 5 here, Moscow, you got to think it kind of favors them as well, as they're 4-0 in it versus the side of North Texas, who has not played Moscow search yet. So definitely have something to say about that if we look towards that part of the series. But again, it's all going to come down to this Checkmate. We call control the swing mode for a reason.
Oh, especially in 1-1 map counts, it absolutely is, because more often than not, the team that wins the third map usually wins the series. So I believe we're ready to send things over just to a small break. And when we come back, it will be that checkmate control waiting for us for map number 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCL. It's going to be checkmate control. Both teams tied up at 1-1 here in the series. And it looks like we're going to have UTD COD Orange on offense to start us off here, while North Texas is going to be on the defense here in round number 1.
And this is one of those things that you're just wondering, what is going to be the tempo and speed that North Texas want to play on, because they have been very good in the checkmate control. I'm just wondering how they have found their success so far. They will get into the plane, so it's a lot of taking your time, clearing your space, and look for an avenue of approach. And how about it? You lose 1 life, you take away 3, and that should give you an opportunity to start taking a look at some of these control zones.
Yeah, and not just 3, they were able to find the 4th there now as well. But the issue for them is they do have the player of Mr. J Pistachio pushed so far up into their base right now, and they need to clear this player out first before they can decide to try to keep on making some ticks over towards this hill. It is going to be Spence inside the point A, just trying to get some time on in here, and he's actually going to be able to get a tick in by himself on the A point. But I mean, really, North Texas has not gotten a great amount of map control here so far, as the player from UTD COD seems to be consistently in their base.
It's just one of those things that it's a laundry list of things that have to go right for you to successfully capture a zone, especially if that zone is the targeted B zone that UNT has continued to try to go off to right off spawn. They're doing a nice job getting inside the plane, but the problem is, look how many angles you can find these crosses from for free. Snow playing aggressive through yellow container can make life very difficult. Then he's going to have to try to mine a plate and try to clear some of the space underneath the zone, and it's just so hard to fully get control of the areas required to get to this B zone. And UTD COD are in a great spot, as they have tied up the lives, and beyond that, they largely should also clean up the last 10 seconds without too much problem.
Dempai was able to find 2 underneath, but not going to be able to really find much as he falls right after. But it's going to be Destino now inside the hill for the side of North Texas on the A site. He's going to be able to take some shots down range as his teammates clean up the kill. But once again, it is just going to be him over here inside the hill. As soon as they clean him up, the tick is going to continue to go through. Rudd on the other side is going to have to hop on into B. Not going to be the case, and that should be round 1 going to the side of UTD Orange.
It's just so difficult, and I think some of it has to do with, if you ever just watch where the defense spawns compared to where the offense spawns. If you were to just take the plane out and just have the middle as like an open square where all the battle is happening, the defense just spawns so much closer to these control zones than the offense does. So when it comes down to how do you deal with getting onto a control point, especially if it's the B zone, there hasn't really been a lot of great answers for it. Again, a lot of things have to go right, but you even saw this last weekend in the CDL. Often the offense will just go straight to the A zone. It's much easier to capture. It's got a little bit of safety because of the containers that are around it. And unless you're able to convincingly win the plane with a full 4-man down and then also push beyond it, it's very difficult to get that B zone safely, especially early on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a large majority of how we've even seen things in the CCL is teams tend to push towards that A site first, get full control, and have that extra minute to try to put the attack on towards the offense. As we start to look in towards this round a little bit, though, it is going to be North Texas able to pick up a couple kills in the middle of the plane there, as Rudd tries to make his push out towards these yellow crates, but it's going to be Mr. J Pistachio dropping him down now, and he's going to look to get a tick on towards this A site.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Watch Envy, number 8. He's starting to push through the plane. He wants to try to cut off the rotation of defenders over to A, but he misses his timing, and now he's essentially caught by himself with just Catalyst to watch him from way behind. UTD COD off the respawn, though, making a play over towards B, and they actually have a lot of the North Texas mean green players stuck over by A, so these kills are actually pretty valuable.
Yeah, they got a chance to get ticks in on both sides at the moment, as they have players on both A and B. But it's actually going to be Envy, who is in the top of the plane, who has a big job to deal with here. He's going to have to hop down underneath. He hears the player mantle to his right, so he's going to turn around, drop the first kill there. Has another one-on-one with Spence. He's going to be able to drop Spence as well before finally falling. But all this distraction over towards B is going to lead to an A point going towards the side of UTD COD.
But now UNT have some pretty significant map control. Just comes down to what happens here with Dustin. Where does he want to go? Because you've got 2 players for UTD pushing through the A control zone, trying to get around the back. This will start to push UNT's defensive respawns pretty far away from this B zone, and this is actually a pretty solid look overall for the Comets. It just comes down to, can they actually find these players that are lingering on these crossing angles? Mr. J Pistachio has tracked down one, gets the kill, and is able to stay alive, and on 3 in a row, he's got an opportunity to maybe even do more to try to play for streaks.
Oh, he finds Denpai as well. Destino sliding in through the top of the plane, gonna get dropped from Mr. J Pistachio as well, not quite able to find streaks. But this B-Tick with 3 players on it is moving up very, very quickly. Somebody from the side of North Texas has to get on into the hill right now. Finally, Rudd gonna hop on in, slow down the push as the pinstripe kill feed goes down back and forth. And that's gonna be all 4 down now for the side of UTD COD as North Texas holds on to the B zone.
Absolutely flawless retake for UNT, but on the opposite side for the Comets, you're still really happy with what you just did. You got the entire A zone, and you have 2 ticks of progress onto B. One decent break. Doesn't have to be a great break. Just a decent one will give him an opportunity to potentially get this first offense, but time is becoming a bit of a problem with only 43 seconds to go.
Yeah, and now UTD COD Orange, they got to try to get some of this map control back. You have Envy up in the top of the plane. As I say that, he drops, so now it's just going to be these 3 players in the bottom right-hand side of your mini-map who are really just going to have to find some picks and move up on this map. I don't want to see them rush too fast, though. You still got 30 seconds to work with. You only need 1 wipe, and you're basically guaranteed to get that last tick here. But it's going to be Mr. J Pistachio falling to a double nade inside the plane. And now with only having Snow as your furthest player pushed up and only 13 seconds left, it's looking rougher and rougher for the side of UTD COD Orange to be able to pick up this round win.
And I think at this point, if you're UT Dallas, you might just have to consider just playing for kills. They're going to try to get 1 more hit onto this. Catalyst will also fall, double kill in the mix. UNT do hold on. But let's be honest, we're not going to try to, mince words here. Everyone is just looking at the kill totals right now because we expect this to go defense for defense for defense all the way until we get to round 5, where, like we mentioned, the total kills will be the determining factor of who gets that defensive favor. So that's kind of where my eyes are tilting right now, and I don't know if there was enough damage there for UTD on that offense, even with the successful capture of A and the 2 ticks of progress for them to actually be in the lead here. It's going to be really close. It's about even actually right now, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm UCD Orange there, though, man, like you said, just sit back, kind of play your lives. Yeah, if you were looking at the life right now, I know they want to take that last hit on that B zone.
Yeah.
Man, you got 4 players from North Texas sitting around it. Just back up. Try to play for that last defense here. I know you don't want to give up that offensive win, but they were in a situation where it looked like it was almost impossible for them to be able to pick up the win. Starting off this round now, it's going to be Destino up in the top of the plane.
It's a tough call because you do just need 1 break, and if you get those kills on your little last streak over towards B, you might win the round. So you really can't fault them for not doing it. We've got the luxury of having the minimap plus the Codcaster X-ray, but how about this hit for UNT? Once again, they clear the middle of the map, they get some plane control, everyone comes down, they stack B, and oh my goodness, the Comets are going to let them have this. Big opportunity here, 2 minutes and change to play with, and UNT have already taken the more difficult zone.
They have taken the more difficult zone, but I can say I have seen A get held for a full 2 minutes before, so we'll have to see if North Texas is able to push on through, or if UTD COD Orange is going to be up to the task here. Both teams now trying to make a push over towards this long laneway of the A site here. Mr. J Pistachio going to be the man with the XM4 in hand, just trying to take some shots down range. He's going to get to tag up with the grenade as well. But just trades going down back and forth as both teams continue to jar for map control.
Yeah, this is difficult. I mean, UNT, you have to take that challenge versus Mr. J Pistachio, maybe a fraction early. You lost your players that were in the plane. It allows that 3 line of sight to happen from the B wing. Catalyst jumps on in, takes up where Mr. J Pistachio previously left off. And once again, UTD in a very controlling position. The lives are still favorable, plus the time as well for UNT. But you are really hoping at this point that Rudd's long flank number 3, he's going to have to be able to open this site up because North Texas have no plane control. So the only hope that they have is they can find a couple of quick kills and then stack, try to get this progress underway.
Yeah, and North Texas here, they are on to the hill now, so they're going to start to pick up some time here as UTD starts to come off spawn. That's actually going to be 3 down, so they have a fantastic opportunity at trying to pick this up, and they did not even use their streaks because Dustino does have a artillery strike in his back pocket, and the third pick gonna come through. They were just able to get the wipe at the right period of time there as they were able to push on through and get really into the spawn of UTD and not allow them to get close to that hill again.
This is, I think, right off the rip here. This play from Dustin, again, wins the plane and gets another kill over towards the A zone. That's a challenge that should probably never have happened. You don't want to lose plane control if you're the defense because it turns into an opportunity for the attacking side to just get up forward and zone off your kills from spawn. And that play from Rudd, again, he only finds a single kill, but the timing, the information that he reads on where the Comet's defense is good enough to allow his teammates to clean up kills in front of him. And it gives them a really good look at that A zone. They stack it after the 3 kills came in, leads to an early bit of progress and an early capture. So now it's going to be on to the Comets. For UT Dallas, you need to find an offense that they're going to try to spread the map a little bit here, and that's not great news, as Denny will find not just number 1, but he gets a lot of information for Dustin up top, who's able to find himself a couple of kills, and already University of Northern Texas are going to be in a position to try to zone off this UT Dallas respawn.
Yeah, but off of respawn, you still do have Snow sitting up in the top of the plane. He was just able to find another kill up there, so it's going to be UTD COD trying to make their way over towards this A site. They start to get the tick on in. It's going to be NBI over towards this towards this B site as well, as he was able to pick up 1, but the tick not going to fully come through. The pinch now on for the side of North Texas as they do hold top lane control, and they're going to try to make this play from up top there. Then going to be able to find 1 while Rudd finds the second. So it's just going to be Catalyst now by himself, really middle of the map. He's going to have a big job to do.
Well, he will find himself a couple eliminations. Catalyst is going to stall the clock, and the rest of UT Dallas is actually going to be playing to the middle of the plane. I actually really like this a lot. This is kind of building off of what they found success with the last offense, which was, again, win the plane and push forward. So now you got progress on 2 sites, and University of Northern Texas, they need to make a play here. They need to decide what zone are we going to go for. A clear for Dustin on to A, but that's going to be 2 ticks of progress also given away on to B as well.
Well, it sounds like the streaks are coming on in now, so they might be able to slow this B push down after all. But no, the streaks not going to find anything. This is one of the tougher maps to be able to use streaks on, so unfortunate for them, not going to be able to come on through. And Snows picks up another huge kill over towards B, but shut down at the very last second by Destino as he stops the push here, shuts that tick on down. But once again, UTD Orange hops back onto this A site, and now they've got this last tick 3/4 of the way through. Rudd pushes on in. He finds 1. Trades go down back and forth, but at the end of it all, it looks like Denpai once again standing tall on top of the zone.
Snow tried to get one last heroic win, try to pinch that with Inviage. They will eventually get the elimination, and that should be the A zone in their favor. It's a big extra 60 seconds, only needing 1 tick of progress at B. And Envy finds 2 over through containers. That'll keep UNT really considering that, hey, this is an open avenue for them. And well, now off of respawn, UTD COD, they need to find a way to either take the mid-map plane control or just full flood and stack this and force UNT to make a play.
Yeah, we've seen this in the very first round. UTD COD only needed 1 tick over towards this B site, and we're not able to get it because North Texas was able to get so much map control. But right now, that map control is not there at the moment, as we see 3 kills go the way of UTD COD. And now I would like to see them just hop onto the hill and get the stack on in, as it is so close. But Snow's going to be all by himself here. Gonna get challenged in from Rudd. A big 1v1 for the hill and possibly for the round. Rudd pushes out. He picks up the kill, but he's gonna have to deal with more as Envy pushes on in now.
It's 1v5. I mean, good luck, have fun. It's just that 30 seconds when there were 2 ticks of progress on both zones. That was the 30 seconds that UNT needed to recover because the lives were just becoming a bit out of hand. And an extra 60 seconds to play with means that UTD COD could do what they just did, which was make sure the lives were a win condition by the end of it. So, and it's largely this play from Envy. I mean, he's by himself. This was that chaotic moment where the University of Texas, Dallas were playing both zones at the same time. And to be fair, North Texas was in a position to where they weren't exactly giving me an answer as far as what zone do we want to go for. And because they were trying to defend both, it eventually led to a position to where University of Texas, Dallas were in about a 7-life lead at one point in time, and that would be eventually the win condition needed to take the next offense. And now we go to a round 5 where North Texas will still hold the advantage on defense, but I say advantage a little bit looselier than I did earlier in this map.
Yeah, I mean, UT COD has been able to pick up quite a bit of success on their offenses here. Both times through, able to get 5 ticks. Second time through, we're able to get all 6 and win that last round, as we just seen there. So both teams, once again, now going to be jarring for this middle map position, and it's going to be North Texas who's able to get off to an early start, hold down some of the time in this first hill, but as the trades go down back and forth, Destino's going to try to make a flank play in through the back. He's going to get dropped as well. So A should start going towards the way of UTD COD as they get the first tick of progress in.
But you got Spence in your back line. He's going to be playing from right around tube. He finds 2 kills, and he should know that he's forced the University of Texas Dallas to spawn essentially below him in the bottom right. Could watch this cross from a multitude of angles, is picking the what should have been safe angle, but again, Dallas was very aware that UNT was in their spawn, and they do a nice job isolating and finding a quick kill. So 1 tick of progress confirmed, but time becoming a problem. 30 seconds to play, and they need to find progress and find it now.
Yeah, 22 to 22 on lives as well, but it looks like UTD COD gonna choose to push on towards this towards this B site now. Might just be a little bit of a distraction, but also player number 8 is all the way up in that wood area, just trying to finesse his life around and basically make any little bit of a play you can. He's gonna have another player hop on over top of him. That's gonna be Destino, who drops as well. But Spence has done a great job from this A site, just trying to slow down this tick over towards B. But Catalyst, once again, being the catalyst for the side of UTD COD.
Second tick of progress on the way, and again, Envy has done so much. I mean, you cannot just let him be in your spawn. Envy's playing this so darn well. God. He's not coming back to help his team. He's just out here to make sure that North Texas is always contested off their respawn. So, yeah, he eventually falls, but Rudd's not going to get here in time. That's an extra 60 seconds, and we've got a copy-paste as far as what round 4 looked like. And Catalyst turns on Rudd. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, the tick is starting to come on through on A as well, and North Texas no longer has streaks because they burned them in the last round and didn't get anything out of them. This is one of those zones that it absolutely can work out on as all 4 go down now. Just stack the hill. It's over. UTD COD Orange come out and win 2 offenses on checkmate control to pick up the game.
You have to give a lot of credit to Enviage. I mean, you're not going to see it from this perspective. This is Snow trying to clutch up, just watching the cross, able to also read Denny from behind. That's the play that actually wins the game. But for me, MVP of those 2 offenses was Enviage. 2 separate times, we saw him make an individual play to open up the map and force UNT to make decisions, and they never did. You have to decide what you're going to do when you've got pressure happening on both of your control zones. For a team that has been flawless on control so far, that was surprising that they allowed Enviage to stay in their backline by wood for as long as they did. He found, 5-6 kills just from that same position. You can't let that happen, and UTD COD find a way to break up this 1-1 map scoreline to give themselves an advantage in the series.
He did a great job, especially shooting those players in the back that were pushing on to Catalyst had to do is hit a bullet or 2 on every player. It felt like that was pushing on into that hill because they could not get him out of there. And Catalyst, I mean, as you were talking about Enviage, Catalyst just as much of a high performer in that game, finished somewhere around 30 kills. He definitely was going off. And UTD COD, they did what we said they needed to do, Shift. They picked up that control win, guaranteeing them a map 5, a Moscow, which they are 4-0 on. And oh man, I can't wait to see it. We start to look towards our raid hard point, and now all the pressure lands onto North Texas, as this is a map that they absolutely have to win. But they looked really good in that first hard point.
They looked really good the first hard point. I'm glad that you had brought that point up. And a lot of it was simply because they denied the ability for University of Texas Dallas to get their SMGs active and available to really largely do more than just soak up hard point time. That is a little bit easier said than done on a map like Grade versus the map like Checkmate. The SMGs will have a little bit more of an opportunity naturally because of how the map is laid out. But that's where I'm taking my attention first and foremost. You have to be looking at what exactly can Envy and Snow do, because if they're going to again be shut down by this UNT squad, I would expect to see a very similar story as far as the Checkmate is concerned versus what we're going to get here in the raid. This map is very streaky. It could get out of hand really quick. It could be one of those situations where if your SMGs do not win you an opportunity to get into a rotation, especially from the early second hard point in kitchen to garage, this map is going to almost feel like it could be more over than you might like it to be really early on if you allow North Texas to continue to win rotational battles.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, that first game through, North Texas absolutely was winning. It felt like I'd say 80 to 20% of the rotational battles. So if you allow them to do that once again here on Raid, it can spin out of control so fast. Raid, one of those maps that if you put hills 2, 3, and 4 together, you can find yourself up 120 seconds finishing off that first set of rotation. So it's definitely something that UTD COD Orange are going to have to do. Luckily for them, they do have that Moscow to fall back on if they're not able to pick up the raid win. But still a map that they would definitely like to try to pick the win up on. They are 1-0 on the map.
Yeah, and I think this, again, just comes down, like we've been talking about, what happens on these rotations. And it's not just the gunfights that I'm looking at. I'm also looking at the clock. When is the timing going to be in play to where they say, give this hard point up, let's play for the next one? Because this is one that if you rotate too early, it can actually punish you because of that. Again, that same rotation, kitchen to garage, and then also garage over towards basketball, because they're on extreme opposite sides of the map. If you rotate too early and your opponent chases after you, finds a couple of kills on you, you're spawning old. And then you've all of a sudden lost a rotation when you were trying to play for the win condition of that immediate moment being the early timing to get you from one hard point to the other. So yeah, I'm looking to see, I think, largely what are going to be the timings for both of these squads, because at least based off the checkmate as our one sole instance that we can go back to, North Texas was doing a much better job rotating around the map than UTD was. And it wasn't just because of the kills, it was also because of the time that they chose to sacrifice on a hard point versus committing to a rotation.
Absolutely. I think one crazy thing that we do need to kind of touch on just a tad bit here is the only time that North Texas has lost this map, it is to a 4-4 team in Navarro College. So
Yeah, Navarro College, yeah.
that's something that's interesting. That is their only map loss on this, but it was also only a 250 to 247 one. So it definitely came down to being one of those scrappier hard points. I don't know why, but I feel like we're about to get a scrappier hard point here as well as we load on in map number 4 here. UTD College up 2-1 in the series, and it's going to be Catalyst pushing to try to get that mid-map control, but Rudd finds the kills early on, much like the rest of his side of North Texas, as they jump on in and they get some early time here on this P1 hill.
Yeah, Snow doing a nice job as he won the middle trade through that kitchen angle right off the rip. Come back over and help the hard point. Catalyst able to open up an opportunity to find a couple of eliminations. And with 30 seconds to play, these next respawns is where I'm really looking. When do you want to start making a play for a rotation? It looks like Inviage wants to be the first one across. He does win the middle of the map, and after everything is said and done, the scrappy battle for the hard point should turn up in favor of UTD.
Yeah, so UTD going to be able to pick up this first time, but Red trying to make a flank play all the way on through, tries to take some shots into the back of Catalyst there, notices he's very outmanned, so he decides to back on up. This pinch coming in through the top of from UTD could be huge in terms of influencing these spawns, as you see two players from the side of North Texas going to spawn out very deep, and they're going to have Mr. J Pistachio to try to watch on over the middle of the map, but he's going to fall. Catalyst tries to make a push on through the back, finds two of his own, but he's going to be met with two more players from the front of North Texas.
That's the problem. Once you get broken on that push through laundry, you have to make a decision if you're North Texas. Do we want to send anybody around either that same route through laundry or through basketball to try to watch the pinch? That time the answer was nope. We just want a full flood from the front. Catalyst is able to find an angle from the money window, and from there on out, it's pretty much all over from there. 5 in a row for Stowe, by the way. 7-1 overall. Looking for a 6th kill, but does get shut down. So no streaks here early for UTD, but they will be in a pretty significant spot at an early lead.
Would have loved to have seen somebody get in front of him there and try to bait out for his streaks a little bit, as streaks could be so huge on this map. Very, very many open hills. But we start to look now towards the next rotation. It's going to be going over towards the garage hill. That's P3. And North Texas are set up here. This is going to be a very, very tough one for the side of UTD God to try to break on in and push through. And it looks like the people leading the way for them, again, it's Catalyst at 8-4.
Benny's watching this, though. He will not just find one. He gets information and a lot of damage onto a second. You just can't let Snow break through Jim freely like this. Spence is able to find 1 kill, but he's got to try to hold his life away from reinforcements, of which Dustin will get there for 1 initial trade, but it will be UTD on their first break attempt, able to get into the garage, and now things start to get much scarier for the mean green of UNT.
It's basically the opposite of what we've seen from the first game. It really feels like UTD right now, very much so, on the back of Catalyst, who is again on a 6 spree playing for these streaks, has just absolutely controlled the early pacing of this game. They are putting in more and more time on these hills. And like I said, if you can really string these 3 hills back to back to back, you can find yourself up 120, and they're finding themselves up 100 right now, possibly even more come the end of this, as they have to. North Texas needs a hold here.
They need a full 60, I think, at this point in time. Getting broken is just not acceptable, and they actually are already spawning out. They're not zoning these hard points. If you're going to be chalking up 20 seconds with a timer or so on an old hill, you have to zone the hill that you're about to go to, and that time there is no pressure in the middle of the map. UTD just walk right into kitchen, and now they've flipped the spawns, and they're on their way in. Catalyst is trying to make something happen, but he does get cut, so the bunker up defense for North Texas will hold for now, with the next hit on the way for the Comets.
And I mean, I think the only positive that you can really take from this game right now, if you're North Texas, if you hold on to the remainder of this time, it's going to be around a 30-point game, and you were able to shut Catalyst down on streaks. But here comes the push once again. UTD Orange pushes on into the hill, and they're able to find a few more. So they're going to be sitting at around 125 seconds towards the end of this hill, and I mean, they have a couple players set up towards this middle map. As you see now, player number 3, that's Mr. J Pistachio. He's going to be making his way over towards the top of this statue. We've seen this play come in so many times, as you have so much control towards the top of this map to be able to watch over your teammates inside the hill and make so many plays.
You need to send at least 2 players, I think, in my mind, to take care of Mr. J Pistachio. You cannot allow him to be up top for free, and they do actually find a kill. Spence, coming from the open stairs, tries to make a play forward, but at least for North Texas, you've taken some of the key positions back, and now the kills are starting to get there. So a very scary first rotation could be salvaged if you're able to clean up these last couple of players.
Yeah, and this lane is starting to go back into the way of North Texas. We see Dustino pick up 2 more kills here in the middle of the map. They do have that player in player number 6, Denpai, watching over them from the middle of the map now as well. So they do have a chance here to pick up a lot of time, and we could honestly only be seeing around a 20-point swing to finish off this first set of rotations.
J Pistachio, a very slow start, able to find himself 3 in the feed there, but still not good enough. I mean, it just comes down to the fact that UNT are now eventually getting to the awareness of, hey, we need to make sure we're playing this hard point correctly. Let's not get too desperate. It was looking scary for a moment, but then taking control of Spiral and then coming back to P5 was the right call. You sacrifice 15 seconds to get 40. Should be able to take that trade every single day of the week and twice on Sunday. And now we've got ourselves a 20-point game as North Texas get the initial lockdown for the first hill.
And I think they're finally doing a better job of what you were asking them to do, as they look to be zoning this hill out very, very well right now, as UTD is spawning out towards this back laundry side. Player number 4 might be able to make a pinch play on in here, though, to spot out a couple players. That's going to be Snow. He grabs one, is looking up towards this top window, finds the second, but it's going to be a pinstripe kill feed going down back and forth. 1v1 for the hill, not going to be the case, as Red is able to pick it up, lay down, and get away with his life here as the hill continues to go the way of North Texas, as the lead change does come on through, but it's going to be a very short lead change as the side of UTD COD is back on the hill.
Yeah, but the thing is, no one's really caring about what's happening on this hard point right now. It's all about what's going on through Kitchen, as we will eventually open that up for our next hard point. And for the moment, UTD is in a really solid position with numbers, but there's a flank coming from Dustin. He's behind the play, finds himself one, picked up by Catalyst, but then the reinforcements from the front. UNT able to go 4 for 2, and that should give him an opportunity to continue to contest this second hard point.
Yeah, and I think if you're UTD here, you got to slow down and try to hold on to the time, hold on and try to make a pinch here, as you did get 2 players split spawning, but it's not going to be the case. One player does end up falling in the back. Trades going on back and forth, but at the end of it, Spence going to grab a huge 2-piece inside the hill. But oh my god, Mr. J Pistachio was able to flip on in. This hill has been one of the most contested P2s I've ever seen.
But you do have a position here for the Mean Green. They will have one more set of spawns, 20 seconds. This is big time for either of these 2 teams. And UTD are going to have to decide to scrap this. There's really not a lot you can do besides hoping that Snow can finesse. Well, at 23 and 16, maybe he very well could. Finds himself 2 and then gets out of dodge as he needs to go and retreat. Make sure that the next set of spawns over by Garage are safe. And that's a lot of contested time from Snow.
Yeah, and that's basically a 10-second swing that could have gone the way of UTD of North Texas there, but not going to be the case, only leaving us at around a 20-point game as opposed to a 30-point game. And it's going to be Catalyst, first man up. He's going to drop on the backside as 2 huge kills come in for North Texas. Make that 3 as they're going to spawn the players out middle of the map. It's only going to be Mr. J Pistachio here by himself. He's going to fall now, as well as the side of North Texas gets the big break on the Garage.
You're getting a full team effort for UNT, and that is outweighing the 2 individual special players from UTD at the moment. The first rotation is dominated by Catalyst and Snow, but North Texas have collected themselves, they've recovered, and now they're starting to play the map exactly how you would hope they would from the beginning, with a flawless record that you mentioned from before. Rudd early rotator will be cut down, but does read that there are a handful of UTD members inside Kitchen. What does that do for North Texas? How do you want to try to break this basketball hardpoint?
I think UTD has a much better hold than what we've seen from North Texas, though, on this P4 hill the last time through. So Enviage is going to be a lot tougher of a player to get down here, especially having teammate help. He's able to grab another one in the middle of the Kitchen. Finally going to fall, but the teammates should be able to come off spawn and be able to help him out a little bit here. it's just going to be Catalyst again. Gets stunned up, but gets away with his life. Mr. J Pistachio grabs a couple from the front side as well. So far, so good for the hold from UTD, but Denpai hops on into the hill, wins the 1v1 on Snow. He's going to have another 1v1 with Mr. J Pistachio, but falls unfortunately for him. But the numbers are there for North Texas right now as they're able to continue to rack up a little bit of time here. And this is good contested time that's not going the way of UTD COD.
You have to make a decision right now if you're UT Dallas. Do you want to play for this scrap time, or do you want to chalk and rotate and get control of Spiral? Might not have to be able to make that decision because Red will make it for him by cleaning up the kitchen. And UTD, as they spawn in, will actually break the hard point and put them in control of the middle of the map. So this is a pretty solid setup. Again, often, Raid comes down to this final 5th hard point. And for the moment, even though North Texas is in the hill, you've got a full surround for UTD waiting to execute.
Yeah, UTD is going to have to get rid of this player, Denpai, who is in the middle of the map. There we go. Enviage able to push on through the back, grab the player. So it's exactly what we saw the side of North Texas do on the last rotation through. They clear out the Raid side of the hill, and now they look to push on through pillars and try to get into this hill. Pinstripe kill feed going down back and forth, but at the end of it, it looks so far like North Texas is able to hold on strong.
At least for now, another hit's going to be on the way, though, and for Texas, you just got to hold as much as you possibly can. There's really no chance that you can zone this, and so far, so good here, Jesse. You've got UTD spawning in the exact worst position on the map, backed by Basketball. They have to flood in and try to contest a little while longer. Only 8 seconds between UNT and a win.
Yeah, 8 seconds left. Spence gonna win the gunfight middle of the map. It's gonna be up to players number 2 and 4 to try to get on in, but nobody gonna be close. North Texas with a big comeback here in map number 4, sending us to map 5.
Wow. I mean, it's just such a great individual start for 2 of the 4 players on UTD. They win that opening hard point. They win the rotation behind Kitchen. And they put themselves up like, what, like 70 to 15 or something of the nature. But then after that point, UNT, they start to slowly collect themselves. They start to move as a full unit. They're able to key position, lock down a number of spots around the map, especially that last 5th hard point. Really good awareness overall for UNT to know what's going wrong. How do we fix it? How do we get back to playing our game? And that would be the win condition at the end of the map.
You were calling out North Texas for not being able to set up hills well enough through that first set of rotations. I just want to remind everybody, through that first 4 hills, it was like 120 to 20 point lead for the side of UTD. They were up by 100 points, only finishing off getting 60 points on the last 6 hills. North Texas did a much better job in those final 6 hills of zoning out the hills, winning their trades. We got a complete team effort from everybody, and it really is what came down to it, to what led us to being for them being able to pick up that last game win. And boy, we got a heater shift. We were so right when we looked at this one.
Yeah, map 5 on the way for us, the Moscow Search and Destroy. And for North Texas, I mean, they were just in such a great position by the end. All the things that were going wrong in the very beginning, that first rotation that we marked on, all of those things were fixed in the second. And sometimes you just need that one hard point. That's just a regain hard point. Just get onto it. Let's just all make sure we're set up correctly. Let's just have ourselves an actual good look at a money hill. That time through, it was essentially around that 3rd garage hard point. One good break. They got a nice little bit of a setup, and they're able to, again, string things over to a nice P4. And from there, everything is essentially history. So, yeah, really good stuff overall for North Texas. But now that we go back to the Search and Destroy, we got to keep in mind that for Raid, we were missing a lot of offensive rounds for both of our teams. It was a very defensive battle all the way through. A couple of really clutch up moments. And I think for my question here for both of these squads is, what are they going to bring in their offensive playbook? Because Moscow is a map that has a lot of open area that you could play with. You could try to get those aggressive hits towards A, but let's be honest, over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of creative attempts to get over towards the B apartment. So I'm interested to see what both these teams have in store for us getting into this map number 5.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about here is North Texas has not got a rep on this game, as we were talking about earlier. That is got to be scary. You're going into a game 5 of your life on the line. Maybe sure it's not a series that you absolutely have to win, but this is for bragging rights. You guys could be the king of Texas right now. You guys can be first place in your division heading into split number 2. It might not be a game you have to win, but it's absolutely one that you want to win. The side of University of Texas at Dallas coming into this 4-0 on Moscow. They got to be feeling super confident going into this map 5.
I don't know. I mean, confidence might be a little bit haltered here because, again, you're not getting a full 4-man response. We talked about that on Checkmate Hardpoint the first time around. The SMGs were absent, but now North Texas, they want to try to get everyone involved as fast as humanly possible. Aggressive hit initially, but these are only 2 members. That was not as convincing of an opening hit as you would normally see for an A rush, and they get punished for it, UTD in a 4v2.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful defensive hold so far from UTD. It's Envianage, and I believe it was Catalyst, the 2 players who have been just popping off for the side of UTD, at least in terms of that control. Were able to pick up 2 kills to start this round off, and now you have 2 players on North Texas who are super spread out from each other. But they may have been able to bait up a little bit of a rotation over here. That Spence putting a lot of pressure on, but he's drops as well. So it's just going to be Denpai now left alone in a 1 versus 4. He's going to be able to get the bomb, but I mean, this is going to be a situation that's going to be so tough to win.
Well, looks like he's going to be able to get the plant off. It's just, can he actually get away? Answer is going to be no. Yeah, so going back to that opening hit, what you kind of saw there were both SMG players dove right onto A, but Denny was rocking an AR, and instead of trying to help out by playing a little bit of an aggressive angle, he was waiting for someone to get into bricks and then peek. That double hit through Eskies will not often result in somebody by bricks peeking you long. They'll typically rotate back to help the side of the staircase by pillars. So a bit of a missed setup there, I think, overall for UNT, but also beyond that, if you're going to be taking an aggressive hit, why are there not 3 members a part of that? Going into what could very well be a 2v3 with 2 SMGs that have to hope they find good timing is not what I would consider to be worth it. So a flawless round for UTD COD on the defense, and now they swap over and give their first offensive look.
And it's looking like one of those offensive hits that you don't see too often on this map, although maybe a little bit more often than lately than not, as they start to head over towards the B site. They're sending all 4 players, and trade's going to go down back and forth as we get a 1-for-1 trade there. But really, it looks like they have quite a bit of map control, but I love this play from North Texas, choosing to get very aggressive here on the defense. Spence gonna drop, but Rudd right there for his trade. Spots out Snow, takes some early shots in, but choosing just to back away and try to get away with his life here as he dips on in towards this little window.
And Dustin should be here to help him. Bomb will be collected. That will absolutely be heard. Rudd still holding, just waiting to see if there's a cross, and this is going to be a battle for gold. And UTD, the smart play here would be to rotate around this and go over to A. You should have had information that both players are here in front of the gold building at B, and that's indeed the case. So this will lead to a 2v2, but a post-plant setup should be favorable here for UTD.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher post-plant setups to push on through. You're going to need to play for trades here, but it looks like Rudd is going to be on the side waiting for his player to make the pinch on through, but not going to be the case, as now it's going to be by himself 1 versus 2. Can he make some magic happen here? He hears that player slide to the left of him, so choosing to continue to try to make this push on through. He just got spotted out by Catalyst. This is going to be very tough for him to pick up, and he drops to Snow. So UTD COD so far showing that those reps on Moscow coming out clutch.
Yeah, and it's a bit of miscommunication, I think, overall. But for UNT, you get the opening exchange, and one of the things that we'll largely see some of the top teams in the game do right now is if you find that opening first blood around B, set yourself in a position to just watch the players on the offense cross, because they have to cross that street through Globe to get to the B apartments. And that time, North Texas said, we don't want to do that. We just want to play it forward and get aggressive, and the aggression doesn't largely pay off for them. So UTD in a nice opening start, 2 rounds in a row, and for North Texas, okay, here we go. Looks like all 4 players are going to more aggressively hit over towards A this time. Actually, hold the phone. Spence will watch back, but so this is actually a copy-paste of the same exact opening they had from the round before. Nobody sees Snow cross up through Eskies. They're fortunate to still walk away with the first blood. Dustin on 1 HP.
Yeah, absolutely. Dustin able to grab the first blood there, so a little bit of a different round so far coming in, but it is going to be Mr. J Pistachio down in the bottom, just watching over these Eskies, but doesn't even need to see the cross through, because Destino is able to find his second kill of the round, opening things up. But Enviage up in the top, able to pick up another kill, drops through the back, finds his second. But as he gets that kill, Spence is able to find one, leaving him by himself, and North Texas able to pick up a round win, but that was not a super clean round.
No, not at all. It's just, again, a little bit of a mistiming. Once more, you see number 3 just kind of sitting in the back over towards the entranceway of Denny, and he's not even really helping out with these plays. He's just so far away. But then you also got to turn your attention to the player that was in the middle of the map. The whole goal for Spence is to see if anybody crosses over to Eskies, and he misses that. So it's really, I would say, fortunate for UNT that they get that first blood onto Snow, who was the player who dove up the escalators, because if he finds that first kill, that entire setup for UNT is going to, again, once more probably crumble. But comes down to a 1v1, and that time Snow did not win it. So UTD on their next offense, going to take their first attempt over towards A with 3 members.
Getting very aggressive towards this A site, able to pick up 1, but 2 of their own players falling. But luckily for them, Snow with the bomb was able to find 2. He's sitting at 5 and 1 right now and making the heads up play to make a very quick rotate over towards this B site. But Denpai is able to find 1 in the back. And it's going to be Snow now getting the bomb down at B. He's going to have a 1 versus 2 with 2 players on opposite sides of the map. He could catch a timing here on Rudd, but this is going to be a tough one to win.
Does see the player, so now it's down to getting the information. Where do you want to set up your post play? I would love to see him get out this window and go street side, and that's indeed the case. It's 1v2 about to come into play right now.
Yep, finds Denpai, is able to get away with his life. Rudd started hopping onto that bomb, but must have heard a mantle into the window. Gonna be able to drop the kill as well. So Rudd clutching up the 1 versus 1. And that's going to set us up at 2-2 here. And I mean, this is a lot of what we've seen in the last Search and Destroy. Just both teams needing to come up with these clutch situations time and time again.
It's just so many things that if it goes the other way, it's totally different. But you want to talk about the value of that player who sits in the middle of the map. The only reason that Snow even comes back for that kill is because it was information that was read by that last Comet player that was sitting in the middle of the map by the Gold Alley. So it leads to an opportunity for UTD to try to get an advantage, but it still gets turned around as UNT just able to hold on just barely good enough. And now we go back to the offense, and it looks like UNT will give us our first true look over at B. And it's with all 4 members, so there's nobody lurking over to A this time. And I'm very curious to see if UTD go, hey, they haven't thrown any nades here. Maybe we should rotate somebody off quickly and see if we can just defensively stack over to B.
It looks exactly like that's going to be the case as you continue to have Mr. J Pistachio with an AR set up in that half wall, just watching over mid, and then you see Snow reposition from the middle of the map over towards B now. The pinch continuing or the push continuing just to try to come on in from the side of North Texas here, but really it just looks like they're trying to get a pick before they decide to move somewhere.
This is a timing execute. As soon as the clock hits a certain number, they're going to make a call. And it looks like at 45, the call was, all right, let's rewrap this back over to A. And to be fair, UTD is getting a little antsy. They're going to keep Spence here at B and try to make a little bit of noise to try to sell this plant. And that might be enough for Envy to be backed off of this bomb site. But no one's made any noise yet. And Rudd, his timing is good. He should be able to get this and get out of dodge, and it looks like that's indeed the case. He's got a 4v4 with 40 seconds to play in the retake.
Yeah, I liked that Envy didn't push out right away there. Not going to get caught out, but it's going to be Catalyst. Drops first, drops second as Denpai is able to pick up 2, but Snow and Mr. J Pistachio grab 2 of their own, and now Spence, that player that was the sole player over towards B, is now going to have to make that big long wrap back over towards A. Luckily for him, nobody hopping onto the bomb, but he gets spotted out. I don't understand why you push out there when you don't see anybody on the bomb.
What are you doing, Spence? Your only job was to wrap around the back of this play and just check to see if anyone's on the bomb. You just cleared yellow lobby. Go back to what you just cleared. Why would you push through into danger? That is, oh my gosh, that is a critical mistake. I mean, UTD, you have to give them credit first and foremost. That retake was really well executed. All 4 members are hitting the site at the same time. 1 through Eskies with Mr. J Pistachio. Him and Snow able to find 3 was more than I think expected, but that is a critical misplay from Spence.
Absolutely. That round was 100% winnable for the side of North Texas. We look now as UTD COD Orange, again, are going to send 3 players towards this A site and 1 towards mid just to watch on over. We'll see if they have any better luck here this time, but it's going to be Snow getting tagged up early. So he's going to choose just to back up here, and we'll see if they try to make a different play with this bomb.
I'm surprised there are no trophies down right now for UTD. You've got a couple available for you, but they're just going to try to soak up these nades and then make the call. A long flank is on the play, so for UTD, you've got to read this, hopefully go kill for a kill, and then hopefully if you get this reading the player in the back, it should be enough, and Looks like that will be the case. Not going to get a second kill, and it comes down to a 1v2 for Dustin.
I was going to say they were kind of stuck there in a bit of a pinch, but luckily for them, they were able to win their 1v1s. So now leaving Dustino in a 1 versus 2 here. I believe he just spotted out that gun. Takes some early shots in on the Envy, but just like that, the other player from UTD Orange there to make up the trade and tie us back up at 3-3.
Much better round, I'd say, for both teams here. The long flank play was read beautifully. Dustin gives us a realistic chance. The problem was, as soon as you find Envy just runs away. He just, okay, let me put him in a position to where I know for a fact Catalyst can find the trade. No problem at all. So 4-2 here. Yeah. And now you're looking at North Texas. You have to put together a good offense here. You cannot go down 5-2.
Yeah, I completely read that wrong. It is not 3-3, 4-2 here for the side of UTD COD Orange. I feel like this round is now a must-win for the side of North Texas, and they're choosing to get very aggressive towards this A site. It's going to be Destino leading the way once again, shooting that trophy out. Bomb's going to go down very, very quickly here. Spence finds the... No, sorry, Denpai finds the first with the Krig in hand. We'll see if player number 5 here, Mr. J Pistachio, tries to make a flank play on through, but it's going to be Catalyst finding a kill for the side of UTD COD to tie us up at 3-3.
Jay doesn't have the time to go around the full back of this. He has to wait for his teammates to put pressure down in the front and then hit this simultaneously. And oh boy, he read the play correctly, but I don't think he trusted that he actually saw a player in the corner there. But hey, you want to talk about patience being rewarded? Denny has been sitting on that side staircase going into the entrance of A every single round offensively, and finally he gets someone to peek him over through bricks for a kill. So that was going to feel a little bit better for Denny overall, and a 4-man hit is eventually what breaks the cracked shell here of this A site for North Texas.
Absolutely, and I mean 3-4 looks a hell of a lot better than 2-5 does for the side of North Texas, so they'll definitely take that round win here. It looks like UTD COD now choosing to make a little bit different of a hit than what we've seen so far, as we see 3 players getting very aggressive through mid, but Destino able to find one and get away with his life here. Bomb is down. Envy gonna push back and pick it up, but he's gonna be 2 players over towards these escalators. Trade's going down back and forth. Catalyst now left alone in a 1 versus 2. Believe he knows where the player of Denpai is. Actually not gonna get the timing here. Pushing on through. He's able to see Rudd. He picks up the first, but he gets into a corner, so he's kind of safe. And he gets the challenge and win. You can't let that happen if you're North Texas in a round that you need to win. Now down 5-3. What a play from Catalyst once again.
Oh, he hears the gunshot. Oh. There was a single shot that Denny threw out. Catalyst was considering running away with his life, but realized, I'm low. I can't actually go right here. The trade could be anywhere. And Denny fires a single shot. Oh my goodness, the timing of that. Catalyst gets that read, turn, snaps, and takes the 1v1. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that regen came in just at the nick of time here. North Texas now on an absolutely need to win basis in these last 3 rounds. It's gonna be the A site that it looks like they're gonna put a lot of pressure towards early on here. Spence, trying to see if he can find anything over middle of the map.
This is another one of those setups for North Texas that there's a lot hinging on this, and they're hoping that they get someone to peek them. These are both of your AR players that are watching this right now, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, pardon me, Spence is actually playing inside of gold, so interesting. He's actually gotten off the Krig here, so you do have Dustin who's trying to hit this with this play through mid-eskies. But this is a problematic thing because he's got no one in the middle of the map, and Envy Mr. J Pistachio finding the first 2 kills. This might just be it.
This is looking like it. Barring some miraculous play from Denpai, not going to be the case. UTD COD Orange coming through, continuing to stay undefeated here in the CCL, improving now to 8-0. They're a number 16 seed, but very well could be moving up the ranks after that one.
I would say that, I mean, I'll just put it out there. Personally, I had them sitting right around 10th overall. I think that, again, with Catalyst in the mix, he actually makes this roster extremely talented. I think he's a talent that he's got an opportunity, I think, to go beyond just what the CCL has to offer. He's huge. He's got a huge brain, big heads up player. And you saw that coming to fruition, not just there in that little 1v2 finesse, but a number of times also in the control. Yeah, he's a super talented player. So I think for UTD, COD, this Orange Squad in specific, this is a massive win for you. This is a very good North Texas team. You can't take anything away from this squad overall. And I don't know. I'd be interested to see what the voters do after this week, because for North Texas, they have a pretty hefty schedule still remaining. Like, that was just one of what will be 3 pretty difficult matches for them, because they still have to come through and play up against Longhorn Gaming and Texas State. Longhorn Gaming sitting at 5-3 currently in 5th, and then Texas State, who's only dropped a single match so far, and that was a 3-0 that they lost to UTD. So I don't know. It's one of those that you feel like you have to come out, and for your sake and for the sake of you staying in the top 25, you need to win your upcoming matches, which are going to be next week versus both of Longhorn Gaming and Texas State.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Guys, that's going to do it for me and Shift here today on the Alpha stream. Coming up next is going to be the 7-1 Arizona State University going up against Grossman Community College, sitting at 8-0. So another barn burner, and it's going to be McCornmeal and Morgan Dunn on the cast. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short